but why I stopped watching The Bachelorette. Mainly so I could come to Paris, France. Seriously, I'll explain. Hey, it's Terry Savelle Foy, your cheerleader of dreams. And here I am in London, England. Look behind me. We're in Paris, the most beautiful city. And I'm so happy to be podcasting today. I want to talk to you about something that sounds a little crazy, but why I stopped watching The Bachelorette. Mainly so I could come to Paris, France. Seriously, I'll explain. But do you know, believe it or not, years ago, I would get so caught up in shows like The Bachelorette and The Bachelor and what is it called, like Bachelor in Paradise, or I don't even know what it's called anymore. But I would watch those on Monday night and then go to work the next day and we'd talk about who got the rose, who threw someone in the pool. I can't believe he kissed her. We would get so caught up in the drama and then count down for the next Monday night to watch it again. Well, the reason I'm telling you this, and it's not just The Bachelorette and shows like that I would watch a lot of TV. But one time the Lord said to me in prayer, I was just listening for the Lord and I heard this come up in my spirit. The Lord said to me, don't be average and your life won't be average. Emphasis on the understood you. You don't be average and your life won't be average. And you know, I started thinking about that. It applies to everything. You don't be average and your career won't be average. You don't be average and your opportunities won't be average. Your salary, your body, your marriage, your vacations, your organization or business, it won't be average if you refuse to be average. Well, I started looking around at my life and realizing I was average and I had average habits. In fact, I've heard where the average person, the average American, watches between 4 and 6 hours of TV every day. You know, think about that. If the average person watches 6 hours of TV, they say by the time you're 60 years old, that's 15 years of your life glued to the television. 15 years of your life. They say 95% of Americans watch TV every day. Well, it's so easy to get into that routine of, you know, you work all day, you come home, get your dinner, you plop in front of a TV, and you just stare at a rectangle for 4 hours, and then go to bed and do it again and do it again. Well, when you start actually tracking your time, your TV time, and you realize, oh my gosh, I just watched a 2-hour movie, I just watched an hour of reporting on gossip, then you start going, I seriously just watched 3 hours without even realizing it. Well, when we waste our time, we waste our lives, right? Here's what I began to realize. Life is meant to be lived, not watched, right? And you know, I started thinking, I'm sitting here watching other people fall in love, start businesses, start families, visit cities I've dreamed of, you know, experience new foods, climb mountains, start, you know, ministries, renovate houses. You're watching all these other people do these things when God's wanting you to do these things. Well, what do? You look around at what the average person is doing and you say, I'm not going to do that. If the average person is watching 4 to 6 hours of TV, this is what I tell people. I'm joking, but I'm kind of serious. Just take 20 minutes. Still watch your 5 hours and 40. Take 20 minutes to go read. Read a book. The most successful people in the world, they read. Well, you've probably heard me say on other podcasts, I hated reading, like I loathed it. Well, I had to make myself start this habit because when you discover the most successful people read books, it makes you go, okay, if I'm not going to be average, I got to go above average, I'm going to start reading. Now, let me ask you this. Can you imagine getting to sit down with someone like Dave Ramsey and ask him questions about how to get out of debt? How do you increase your savings account? How do you start getting a successful financial mentality and mindset? Can you imagine sitting down with him and getting to just talk about that? Well, the truth is, you can. With his book, you know, The Total Money Makeover, you can sit down basically and have a conversation with him. That's what books are. They're conversations with the author. Or can you imagine sitting down with Joyce Meyer and getting to ask her, how do you get free from the past? How do you get free from emotional abuse and sexual abuse? And how do you forgive people who have truly hurt you and wounded you? You can actually pretty much sit down with Joyce Meyer and find out the answers to all those questions. She's written, like 80 books? She's poured her life into the pages of books. It's the equivalent of getting to sit down with that author and find out everything they know. Or I think about Joel Osteen. Can you imagine getting to sit down with Joel Osteen and just get full of hope and ask him, how do you stay optimistic? How do you have such a positive mindset even when all hell comes against you? How do you stay motivated? You can. Here's one of my favorites. Can you imagine sitting down with Jerry Savelle? Which I can. I can actually do that. But asking him, how do you increase in the favor of God on your life? What are the 10 benefits of walking in the favor of God? How can you experience that favor every day of your life? You can actually find that out by reading his books. With me, I would say, sitting down with me and me getting to talk to you about how to achieve your dreams and goals. How do you set goals the right way? How do you make a vision board? What do you do once the vision board is done and on the wall? I teach you how to do that. Here's the thing. I think about the book I just wrote, The 5 Things Successful People Do Before 8 o'clock. That took me 16, 17 years to learn those habits, to learn all the content that I poured into that book that you can learn in 6 hours. So a book is the equivalent of an author just pouring years of wisdom and knowledge and experience and failures and triumphs into the pages of a book so you can learn it in a matter of hours. I want to challenge you to do what I started doing years ago is read. Read for 20 minutes a day. They say the key to success is actually KEY. Keep educating yourself. When I began reading and learning how to get out of debt, how to build an organization, how to be a leader, how to go on the mission field, reading is what brought me to cities like Paris, France, where now I get to minister to people. Nobody cared what I had to say before, but when I started reading and growing myself, everything around me began to grow with it. So I want to challenge you to do the same thing. There's a famous doctor who's written so many books. His name is Dr. Seuss, very successful doctor. And this is what he says. I love this. We have this actually on the wall in my offices. It says, the more you read, the more things you know. The more you learn, the more places you'll go. And that is the truth. As your mind increases and improves, everything around you increases and improves. And I love what Jack Canfield said. He said years ago when he was just learning about success, W. Clement Stone, multi-millionaire, said to him, he said, Jack, do you watch TV? He said, yeah, I watch a little bit of TV. He said, how much? He said, I don't know, I watch, Johnny Carson, I watch entertainment news, I watch, He said about 3 hours a night. He said, cut out 1 hour. He said, why? He said, I want that hour and I want you to read. He said, read what? He said, read books that are going to help you. Read marketing, read success, read spiritual growth, read books. Well, he started doing that, and within a matter of 5 years, he became a millionaire. I want to challenge you. Stretch yourself. Refuse to be average. Just like the Lord said to me, don't be average, and your life won't be average. So, in fact, I want to help you get started. I want to give you a free chapter from my book, and it's all about stop killing time. 8 ways to discover if you're wasting your time. I'm going to give you that chapter absolutely free. You just click the link in the description, get access to that chapter, and get started reading today. Hey, be sure and follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, so I can keep you motivated to live your dreams. Au revoir from Paris, France.